right, so Raheem, he's on his way out of Arsenal of that loan spell. Thomas Partey at one stage looked like he was on his way out of Arsenal. No more. What's the latest with him, James?
Yeah, latest is Arsenal are in talks with his representatives about extending his contract. Now, his contract runs out at the end of June. Now, Arsenal this evening or this afternoon, they announced players leaving the whole squad, not just the men's team, the women's team, the academy as well. His name was at the bottom alongside, I think Chloe Kelly's was on there from the women's side as well. The fact they're having discussions about potentially extending. This is a player, 31 years old. He made more appearances in the Premier League for Arsenal this season than he has done in all the other seasons previously. So 5 seasons. He's been remarkably important for Arsenal this season, perhaps surprisingly for some actually, but he really brought the best out of Declan Rice. Declan Rice speaks so highly about his role in the team. He was adaptable this season, able to play right back for big portions when Arsenal went through their full-back problems, when every single full-back they had, which was at the start of the season deemed an area where they've got so many, but they all seem to be full crock of injuries. He's stepped in then. So, look, he's a player that did become very important. And if you look at Arsenal's midfield now, if he was to go, Jorginho's on his way to Flamengo after his contract expires. Declan Rice, Mikel Merino who played mostly back in the season as a centre-forward. Miles Lewis-Skelly, who potentially now sees his future as a left-back. It leaves that central midfield area pretty bare, especially a defensive midfield area, if you can extend his contract and if they can negotiate the best wage structure for the club and for the player. It seems like that's a deal that will make sense to extend that for either a year or another year.
And Zubimendi coming into Arsenal as well. Still not happened yet officially, but that's one to keep an eye on because we understand that Arsenal have triggered his release clause. So, yeah, that is another addition to that midfield area that is obviously in desperate need of numbers at the moment.
Yeah, great signing too. I want to take you back to Chelsea. James Green, Mark McCallum have told me they're across everything tonight, so you're in for a treat. OK, good evening, gentlemen. James, let's start with Raheem Sterling. The forgotten man at Arsenal. What happens to him now?
Well, at the moment, he goes straight back to Chelsea after his loan spell. I just want to take us back to the summer. And actually, when that signing was made, it felt like it was a signing that made a lot of sense. Arsenal didn't have to pay his full wages. Chelsea were supplementing a big portion of that. Player with a lot of experience. He had a great time at Manchester City. I think between 2017 and 2020, he scored 18, 17, 20 goals. This is a proven goal scorer, over 80 caps for England. It felt like that deal made sense. Bit of backup for Bukayo Saka, but it hadn't worked out. 28 appearances in all competitions, just 1 goal, and that came in the Carabao Cup, 3rd round against Bolton, 6 Premier League starts. There was even times, Mike, when Mikel Arteta was looking at his bench, looking at options to bring on. I particularly remember the game against Manchester United at Old Trafford, 1-1, and he was looking at his bench. He chose to bring on Kieran Tierney instead, and there was a pretty miserable Raheem Sterling on the bench that time. It's just a move that hasn't worked out for him. The issue now goes to Chelsea. They've got a player that's got 2 years left on his £300,000 a week contract. What do they do next? Where does he go next?
That is the question mark. This is a man who's played for Liverpool, he's played for Manchester City, he's played for Chelsea, he's played for Arsenal, big clubs. What does he do now?
Well, obviously, he's still got 2 years left on his current Chelsea deal. He was one of the last of the old era. He was one of the last Roman Abramovich signings at Stamford Bridge. And obviously, we know what came with that. Big wages, big money. But Chelsea have gone in a completely different direction. They've restructured the way they do business. They've given longer-term contracts, less weekly wages. And Raheem Sterling, as James has said, is going to be one of the top earners at Chelsea at the moment. So therefore, he doesn't currently fit in to their wage structure right now. So they'll be looking at the situation saying, look, as much as we respect you and like you, you don't fit into what we're doing right now. Be interesting to see what Enzo Maresca says, although based on what's happened this season, he's taken a lot of guidance from those above about the players he can and can't use and, of course, what they want to do financially with regards to these types of players.
Did you say Raheem's got 2 years left?
Yes.
2 years.
So he's on big money. So why doesn't he just sit there and take his money?
Well, he could. Of course, he could. He's one of those players who's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, not only at club level, 10 trophies at Manchester City. Also, he's been on the biggest stage for England as well. He's played for the biggest clubs. What left is there for him to achieve in this country? Maybe he might say, well, actually, I might look abroad. I might want to see what other opportunities there are in Europe. I might want to maybe go to the Saudi Pro League, of course. And Chelsea will probably sit down with him and say, look, actually, we respect that and understand that. But for us, we don't see a future here. maybe he didn't give enough on the pitch at Arsenal, but there's no question, when you look at this player, he still has so much to offer a group, a squad, and I think that's the key thing for Raheem Sterling.
OK, all right.
So, Sesko, you mentioned Osimhen as well. Someone else whose name comes up and has done in recent transfer windows is Martin Zubimendi. So another Arsenal target. He's from Real Sociedad. Arsenal have been confident about signing him, but are there any concerns with that one?
We love to upset Arsenal fans today, don't we?
We're only 4 minutes in.
Yeah, this one potentially could have some drama attached as well. We know that last summer, Liverpool were willing to pay Martin Zubimendi's release clause, which we understand to be £51 million. He said, no, I want to stay at Real Sociedad. Didn't move anywhere. Fast forward 12 months, Arsenal have had a conversation with Real Sociedad where they've said, like, we would like to trigger the release clause. We're happy to meet the payment terms. Also, personal terms agreed with Martin Zubimendi as well, so no issues there. The only slight problem was the international window that we've just been in. He's playing for his national side, so therefore any medicals, anything else that's going to happen, it'll be done after these 2 matches. However, another big spanner that goes into the works because AS, the Spanish newspaper, reported yesterday that Real Madrid were interested in doing a deal for Martin Zubimendi. Now, the biggest problem that Arsenal face is they're up against the best club in the world, and there's not many players that will turn down the opportunity to sign for Real Madrid to join someone else. So therefore, could this be an issue for Arsenal? Very possibly. We're trying to gather some more information on our end to find out exactly what the situation is and how serious this interest is from Real Madrid. But it's certainly going to be one to keep an eye on over the next 24 to 48 hours because this rather seemingly simple deal to get Zubimendi through the door, 26-year-old pivot, someone who can play at the base of that midfield and be a steel block in front of the back four, it might not be as simple. So it's one to keep an eye on. You get the feeling this will jostle and move from hour to hour. So, yeah, could be a busy day for Arsenal fans and a bit of a worrying one as well.